Please welcome Mr. Fang Wang, Editor-in-Chief at FT Chinese, with 26 years in news and media, formerly online editor at the South China Morning Post, founding editor of Reuters Chinese news portal, and senior editor at Caijing magazine. He holds a BA from Peking University and an MA in journalism from UC Berkeley. Today's topic is the AI revolution in news and what it means for PR. 接住落嚟 ，FT 中文網總編輯黃峰將會為大家分享面對 AI 新聞編採室點樣為你嘅傳訊策略做好未來嘅部署嘅。Mr. Wang, are you ready? Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Today I bring a media and journalism perspective. As the host introduced, I've been a journalist for 26 years. In recent years, I have also been teaching journalism and AI in my part-time at University of Hong Kong, at Tsinghua, at Hong Kong Baptist University. So it's kind of a journalist/academic perspective. Today, I'm sure you have heard a lot about AI, especially agentic AI. In the last few years, there's been countless cases of application of especially generative AI in news and journalism. But I would argue these are isolated mini innovations happening largely within the traditional newsroom dynamic or the traditional news flow. But since everybody these days is so excited about agentic AI, I might as well share some examples, some cases of experiments that I've been doing with my newsroom and my classroom, and potentially some ideas about what this might mean to the PR industry. Yes, so the traditional newsroom workflows really haven't changed much, even with all of those generative AI applications. You can use AI to create pictures, you can use AI to edit your articles, summarize, create a newsletter, create a podcast. But the newsroom largely remains the same. It's the same people. Maybe they have fired some people because their job has been replaced by AI, but mostly it's the same structure, same workflow. But what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years? That's what I'm interested in. And in recent years, I've been experimenting with my students and my staff in my newsroom and my classroom. So I have a few case studies to share today. As I said, yes, things are going to change soon, I believe, with agentic AI. The traditional newsroom that you as communication or media professionals know well are going to change. And we may have some ideas with all of our experiments as to what is going to happen. This is old news. I will skip this one and focus on some more Hong Kong-related case studies. So this one, the Wahaha inheritance legal battle, I'm sure you're all very familiar. This was big news in Hong Kong for quite a few months. Some very juicy details about the multi-billionaire family and illegitimate children, inheritance battle between the daughter, the heiress, and the illegitimate children that we didn't know about. Very, very juicy stuff. While reading all of the coverage, I became interested in the role of the uncle. So the guy on the right, that's the uncle of the late beverage mogul, Mr. Zong Qingho. This is Mr. Zong Zeho. That's, of course, the daughter, the heiress, Zong Fuli. The uncle started attacking the heiress somehow in this whole process. I'm sure you read about it, accusing her of being ungrateful, of ruining her father's good name after his death, all of that. I became very curious. What does the uncle have anything to do with it? The $2.7 billion or whatever, that legal battle is between the daughter, the legitimate heiress, and the other 3 illegitimate children, right? What does the uncle have anything to do with it? I became very curious. This guy must know something that we don't. So, but I have a very small newsroom. I don't really have a lot of people, investigative journalists, to send to do the investigative work. So I thought maybe Manus, I'm sure you all know the Chinese developed AI agent. I've been experimenting with it ever since it came out. So I sent Manus free to do the investigation. I basically taught Manus how to investigate because in the last few years I wrote a book on AI in journalism, and one of the chapters focuses on OSINT, open source investigations in journalism. I have a whole chapter, 20,000 words, including all of OSINT techniques and resources, like the Panama Papers offshore document database, where a lot of these people's names could be found there, and a lot of other similar techniques and resources. I uploaded that chapter of my book to Manus, and I said, please learn all of the investigative techniques and resources contained in this chapter. Well, basically, I'm teaching the AI agent as if it were a student or a staff of mine. And after 5 minutes, I said, have you learned everything? Manus said, yeah. So I said, OK, now investigate these 3 people. Find out what the uncle has to do or to say about the whole legal battle that we don't know about. And it set to work. It ran all of every family member's names through a lot of offshore databases, online corporate registries, all of the OSINT, open source investigative resources. And after 10 minutes, it came back and said, oh, I found out that the uncle, unknown to anybody at this point, in the last 15 years had set up 8 offshore companies with the late mogul. So the 2 brothers, unknown to everybody, they set up a whole series of offshore companies in Panama and the like because their names appeared in Panama Papers. And by running their names through all of those databases, Manus was able to find out about all of these links. So it's not a complete investigation. I cannot publish a story based on that, but it gives me some ideas, some angles that the uncle may have unknown claims to the family's wealth, that he felt obliged to join the fray and start commenting very actively on the whole legal proceedings. Gave us one additional angle that nobody knew about all of these offshore companies. It even drew this map of who these companies are, how they were connected to both the late mogul and his surviving brother. So that's just one example. Next one. I'm sure this one is even more familiar to a Hong Kong audience. The MediSafe scandal, Yu Boi Ansan. I'm sorry, my Cantonese not good. The scandal about a high school student, young girl who won the whole series of innovation awards, and her family came into big controversy. So let's listen to this.
So let's get into this story because it is a wild one. It starts out like one of those classic feel-good tales of a young genius. A brilliant student, a world-changing invention, a ton of awards. But the story takes a really sharp turn, and it spirals into this massive public debate about who owns an idea, about ethics, and honestly, about what it even means to be an inventor in the age of AI. So the starting point was just incredible. You have a high schooler from Hong Kong who creates this app called MediSafe, and its job is to tackle a huge real-world problem in healthcare, dangerous medication errors. The whole idea was to use technology to make medicines safer for all of us, catching those critical mistakes before they can cause any harm. And boy, did the world take notice. The project just got showered with awards. We're talking at least 8 major ones, including a super prestigious silver medal at the Geneva International Exhibition of Inventions. It was being hailed as this massive success story, a perfect example of what young minds are capable of. But then, the questions started. What began as some whispers online quickly blew up into a full-on controversy.
Okay, this is a 7-minute long explanatory video. And by this stage, I think you've all guessed. I didn't create it. That wasn't my voice. That's all AI. So what we did was my team and I have been following the story. We have been investigating it. We have been collecting all sorts of documents, media coverage, government documents, all of the documents and statements from all of the involved parties, including the student, her family, the whistleblower, and all of the other involved parties. Hundreds of documents collected over weeks, months. we uploaded it all to, as you can see up here, Notebook LM. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. It's a AI kind of agentic or research tool created by Google. A lot of people have been experimenting with it. Here we found a really interesting use case. All of the hundreds of documents we uploaded to Google Notebook LM, it basically is the whole case, everything, every fact, a whole sequence of things, what happened first, what happened second, who said what, whose accusation and whose defense, everything. Then Google just went ahead and created this whole explanatory video based on everything we have uploaded. I didn't even tell it how to do the story, what I need. Google just went ahead and did the whole thing. Again, this may not really be a publishable quality explanatory news story, but it's pretty good. It's at least 80%, 85% as good as anything that an investigative team might create. So that is another case of agentic AI set loose in the newsroom. They started doing their own work, maybe with a little bit of teaching, with a little bit of instruction and training. But I'm sure you have heard from a lot of journalists that investigative, the business analysis, data analysis, fact-checking, these will remain the last bastions of human-dominated journalism. Everything else could be replaced by AI, but humans, we are good at these very core, very advanced forms of journalism that AI so far couldn't even crack at. In general, I do agree with that, but things are also changing, as evidenced in these case studies. The next one is also very, very relevant to Hong Kong. I'm sure you're all familiar with this picture, a typical playground, public children's playground in Hong Kong. What I'm interested in are those rubber mats on the ground. They're soft, they're supposed to protect your children when they fall. They roll around on it, they pick up stuff, they even eat off of it. I mean, children love it, right? Supposedly, it's made from recycled rubber. It's supposed to be safe. But as a father of a young child, I've always wondered, is it really safe? This is a picture I took last week on my cell phone at one of these children's playgrounds. The rubber mat has been worn. In many of these playgrounds, the rubber mats, they don't remain pristine like that. They quickly wear off. The first layer, the top layer wears off and they expose these white fibers, right? I've always wondered, it doesn't look safe. It looks like fiberglass to me. Whatever fiber it is, it's white, it's sticking out. It looks gross. It looks hurtful. I don't even dare touch it. I can't imagine children playing around and touch it, which they do all the time. A lot of these playgrounds have their protective mats worn, right? But I don't have any evidence. I only have a nagging suspicion over the years. I don't necessarily know that it's harmful or it's bad for your health, for children's health, but I gotta find out. Again, I don't have a very big investigative team. How do I do it? You guessed it, I used Manus. I uploaded these pictures to Manus and basically said, I have a suspicion that this may not be right. There may be something wrong with it. Could you please investigate? Within 1 hour, Manus did all of these things. It identified the potential types of fibers in these mats. It went into manufacturers' patent databases and found at least 2 valid patents from mainland China where they're produced. They do use fiberglass. They do use polyethylene. So these are 2 of the potential fibers that may be used in such a mat mentioned in patents. We don't know if necessarily they are used in Hong Kong, but manufacturers do use them. And then it assessed the health risks. It went into legal databases, standards databases, government regulation databases in Hong Kong, in mainland China, in North America, and Europe, to find out if fiberglass is indeed legal or polyethylene is indeed legal in these children playground equipment. It reviewed all of the regulations and found out in California, fiberglass is supposed to be outlawed by 2027. So far in Hong Kong, they're legal. I mean, they look safe if they were buried under the rubber in those mats, but nobody knows what they're going to do if they're exposed. It ranked the health risks. It says polyethylene is the most harmful. Fiberglass is also harmful, which is common sense. You don't even dare touch it with your bare hands. And it delivered 2 bilingual reports totaling 5,000 words. So starting with this, I can launch a formal investigation. Now I've asked my interns in Hong Kong to start collecting samples from real children's playgrounds and sent to labs to test if they're indeed polyethylene or fiberglass, or if they are, harmless other materials, which would kill the story, but which would make our minds more at ease. So, again, without agentic AI, this would not have happened. I don't have the manpower, I don't have the know-how, I certainly don't know where to look up Chinese manufacturer patent databases to find out what the fibers might be. So, to sum up, in newsrooms, AI is doing a lot of the automation work. Agentic AI is starting to play a role. It is going to transform newsrooms as we know it for the next 5 to 10 years. I am convinced. OSINT, open source intelligence, which basically means all of the free information on the internet. AI is going to be vastly helpful in helping us journalists dig up all of those things, make the dots, connect the dots, make the analyses, and help vastly speed up our journalism, our investigations. So what does this mean for PR? I have some very quick takeaways. This is from a journalist perspective. I hope the real professionals here could give me some even much more expert feedback. News now moves at AI model speed. Stories will form online, a lot of them AI generated or AI assisted, even before your news release lands. Cross-border narratives, now we're the crossroads of mainland China, Hong Kong, Asia, the world. This is where all of those narratives makes up. If you're only focusing on 1 or 2, it's going to be disaster for you. Reputation hinges on verifiable facts. Now humans, when they use to fact check, it takes a long time. But when I use Perplexity, when I use Google Notebook LM or ChatGPT Deep Research, they can do it in 5 minutes. If your news release doesn't contain all of the relevant background information, if you intentionally withhold a scandal which is relevant, but it's 5 years old, if you don't mention it in your news release, it doesn't matter. They're going to quickly find out. And your communication work now is aimed not just at human reporters or editors. You need to take AI into consideration. So some more takeaway. You gotta top load facts in your news release. You better give them the CSVs, the PowerPoint, everything. You gotta give them the whole database, so they can use AI to check everything quickly. Otherwise, they're gonna find it anyway. Don't even try to hide or intentionally withhold anything. It doesn't matter. If it's out there somewhere, AI is gonna dig it up. Provide structured facts. This is for AI's sake. Human editors don't have time to read all that, but AI can read it in a second. Clarify your sources, be 100% accurate. AI can find out anything that is inaccurate. And again, the multiple perspectives, the multiple narratives, mainland China, Hong Kong, Asian, global. Remember all of the controversy about Cathay Pacific a couple of years back? Hong Kong audience think passengers shouldn't record flight attendants without their consent. In the mainland, they don't give a damn. If you said something wrong, it's going to get out there. It doesn't matter if procedurally they did anything right. So Even today, I think people between mainland China and Hong Kong, they don't still understand each other on that point. But it doesn't matter anymore. AI is going to combine all of those narratives into one story. You can no longer tell one story in Hong Kong and try to tell another story in mainland China. It doesn't work. It will be disaster. It may still work today, but in 2 or even 1 year's time, AI is going to tell the difference and expose it all and cost you dearly. So build a single source of truth, quickly triage the rumors, pre-agreed disclosure thresholds, and transparency, speed, and data. That's everything, especially in the agentic AI news age. So that's it. Thank you very much.